Two of the most iconic weapons in Destiny 2 history are finally back, but can they hold a candle to their former selves? In this quick video we're going to go over what to look out for when farming for your shinies and how you can make the most of both of these brave arsenal weapons. Starting off with the Midnight Coup. This was the quintessential hand cannon in year 1 of Destiny 2 which dropped from the Leviathan raid. It was so iconic because it was one of only a few weapons in year 1 that had 2 perks in the final 2 columns in what was the static roll era. The OG combo of Outlaw and Rampage is back, but this version will allow you to enhance both of these perks come the final shape, which will increase the duration of both effects. As great as this combo is, I think you can do way better on this newer version of Midnight Coup and take advantage of the extra 10% damage kinetic weapons do over their energy counterparts. It is a kinetic 140 RPM adaptive frame hand cannon, and these do sit in a good spot in the sandbox. Hammerforged rifling and accurized rounds is what I'd be chasing in terms of barrel and magazine options, just to increase the range and damage fall off. Explosive payload with opening shot is giving me massive Fatebringer vibes and could be a starter for PvP fanatics, or even Zen Moment, which if you know, you know. However, the talk of the town has been Kinetic Tremors, which kindly sits in the final column. This perk is immense in PvE and it's arguably at its best when used on a hand cannon because of the low amount of shots it takes to activate. Landing just 6 shots, 5 with the enhanced perk, will trigger 3 shockwaves at the target's location, dealing excellent area effect damage. With a base mag size of 12, you can effectively activate this perk twice. There's a 2-second cooldown on the target you triggered the shockwave on, but more importantly, these shockwaves take on the damage characteristics of the weapon itself. So if you have kinetic surges going, this will boost the damage of the shockwaves, as will explosive payload. This perk is in the 3rd column, so you can pair it with Kinetic Tremors and it's basically a 15% damage boost at all times, as it splits its shot with the explosive round having 0 damage fall off. The shockwave will also activate any anti-champion perks, so it will work with the Unstoppable Champion mod or Radiant to break barrier champion shields. Moving on, you can also go for Firefly along with One for All, Frenzy or Desperate Measures, which will all offer you substantial damage boosts at any given moment. Now if I wanted the ultimate double perk combo God Roll, I'd look for Explosive Payload and Firefly in the 3rd columns along with Kinetic Tremors and Frenzy. These give you tons of options for either excellent ad clear or higher sustainable damage output depending on the type of content you're playing. Now onto the Mountaintop with a change of pace for this video, and that means some absolutely huge game changing DPS combos are back which are going to shake up the meta. Mountaintop is even getting a buff straight out of the gate with a 40% buff, so it's going to feel more juiced than ever, as the devs put it. It's going to have a ton of new and returning perks and features which we'll get to in a moment, but I wanted to put it through its paces first with some DPS setups, shedding some light on its possibilities for new players and relighting the fire for our veteran players. For the uninitiated, the Mountaintop is used in damage rotations much like the popular combos are with snipers and fusions, generally to complement a bigger heavy hitting combo of abilities or a heavy weapon, and this juiced version with Into the Light is going to excel. First up, we're going for the OG combo of the Mountaintop and Anarchy to set a baseline, to be honest, with no jiggery pokery going on, and it hit for about 1 million total damage. Pinging 2 Anarchy traps at the Ogre and then switching to Mountaintop for a few shots and rinse and repeat as the traps run out. Anarchy was the OG fire and forget weapon, so it's nice to see it's ticking over and working nicely again here. Speaking of Anarchy, what the f is going on with it? To say it's an old popular meta pick, I've only just noticed it has Moving Target as its main standout perk. I mean, just look at this compared to Dragonsbreath and whatnot, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Moving on, and I wanted to up the stakes a bit on this next one and start to look at what are going to be likely DPS combos with Mountaintop. Sticking with Anarchy and Mountaintop though for starters, I wanted to increase the firepower, so I have added in Apotheosis Veil. This Warlock exotic helmet is deadly for Well of Radiance because you will rapidly recharge your abilities on casting your super, meaning you can absolutely wail on a target with solar grenades and melees to trigger tons of ignitions and huge damage. I find that the fusion grenade is the best for this, and the combo goes like this. Drop your Well of Radiance, fling a melee and a fusion grenade. Ping 2 Anarchy arc traps, then back to your melee and grenade ability. Whip out Mountaintop for 1 shot, back to a melee and fusion grenade 1 more time. Then back to Anarchy to reset the arc traps and switch back to Mountaintop, whip out a melee or grenade if they recharge and reply Anarchy as required. With Ember of Ashes, this build really cooks, and even pre-buff it's going to get you about 1.4 million damage. However, where I can see this truly OG D2 iconic weapon stepping into the meta is combined with the current king of the D2 endgame meta, and that is Dragonsbreath. Yes, I know, real original, but let me show you why. One of the current popular DPS rotations for Dragonsbreath is to pair it with a fusion, either a controlled burst scatter signal or a Vorpal weapon Cartesian, or whatever solar one you have. Set up with Apotheosis Veil as above and follow a similar rotation pattern, starting off with firing Dragonsbreath and then unloading your fusion of choice, and this will net you about 1.71 million damage, which isn't shabby, and to be honest we are proper nitpicking here, but Mountaintop potentially makes this DPS rotation even better. Plus it can and will outdamage it in every single way. You only have to land one shot as opposed to multiple bolts from a fusion rifle, and it has less damage drop off, making it more versatile than fusions. All in all, this makes Dragonsbreath with Mountaintop the standout winner of my non-scientific DPS test at 1.79 million. Huge, just absolutely huge. So that leaves us with just the perks that you'll want to chase, which will ultimately push this damage test upwards of 2 million. Spike grenades aren't needed so much as a barrel option here anymore, so it opens you up to a few more options, probably looking at a reload focused one. Ambitious Assassin, Overflow and Demolitionist are all great perks in the third column, especially Demolitionist in grenade heavy DPS rotations like a buff for instant reloads. Vorpal and Frenzy are standouts in the final column for a 15% damage boost, with Frenzy probably being my choice pick. Shout out to Recombination though for the huge 100% one shot damage boost, which can drastically boost DPS in short bursts. You'll be able to farm for either of these till your heart's content from the Onslaught playlist, and grab a shiny version from the quest given to you by Arsight in the Hall of Champions. I hope you enjoyed this god roll breakdown of two of Destiny's most iconic weapons. Your ongoing support is greatly appreciated as always. If you've been here before, consider subscribing or even joining our fellow members to get some bonus goodies to show off in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, which you can click right here.